the frightened stowaway. The transport ship Starwhale 9 was quiet. Too quiet. Private Jordan Blake, a young human soldier, had been assigned to check the cargo hold after strange noises were reported. Most thought it was just the cooling, pipes rattling. But Jordan had heard something else, soft whimpers. Torch in one hand, he stepped between the storage crates. Suddenly, a flash of movement caught his eye. Something small, no, someone small, ran behind a barrel. Jordan frowned. "Hello?" he called out, but there was no answer. Only the sound of tiny, shaky breathing. He crouched, lowered his voice. "I'm not here to hurt you." From behind the crate, a pair of glowing violet eyes peeked out. Then came a strange creature, barely 3 feet tall, skin like silver silk, long ears trembling. She was wearing a torn cloak and held a sharp piece of metal like a knife. When their eyes met, the little alien gasped and screamed in a squeaky voice, "Stay away! I know what you humans do. You eat people like me." Jordan blinked. "What? No, I don't. Wait, what?" She pressed herself into the corner, her small body shaking like a leaf. "You'll boil me in a pot or roast me with spices." Jordan almost laughed, but stopped himself. Her terror was real. He slowly set his weapon down and raised both hands. "I don't cook aliens, I swear." She didn't believe him. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small protein bar, and gently placed it on the floor between them. "Here, eat. Not you, this." She stared, sniffed, then slowly crawled forward on all fours, snatched it up, and scurried back. She devoured it like she hadn't eaten in days. Then her voice cracked. You're not going to eat me?" Jordan sat down slowly. "No, but what are you doing here? This ship is going to a war zone." The mini alien girl hesitated, then whispered, "I was running away. From hunters. You humans. We're the only monsters worse than them. But now, I don't know." Jordan leaned in slightly. "Then let's change that story." But he didn't know. Someone else was also searching for her. And they had already tracked her scent to this ship. The cargo ship Starwhale 9 floated silently through the dark space, heading toward the outer colonies. Inside, everything was calm. Too calm. Private Jordan Blake walked down the long metal hallway, his boots echoing in the silence. He held a small flashlight in one hand and a stun blaster in the other. The captain had asked him to check the cargo bay. Something had triggered the motion sensors twice already. "Probably just rats," Jordan muttered. "Or maybe the cooling system acting up again." But something didn't feel right. The air in the storage area was cold. Rows of metal crates were stacked high, casting deep shadows. As he moved deeper, the light of his flashlight danced across. Old supplies, tools, and sealed boxes. Then he heard it. A small sound. A whimper. He froze. That wasn't a rat. That was someone. "Crying? Hello?" Jordan called out. No answer. He moved toward the sound. Slowly. Carefully. And then, he saw movement. Something small and fast darted behind a crate. He raised his flashlight. "Who's there? Show yourself." Still silence. Then from behind the crates, a tiny voice squeaked. "Stay away!" Jordan blinked. That was not a voice he expected. It was high-pitched, scared, and shaky. He crouched low and spoke softly. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk." A small face peeked out. Big violet eyes. Long silver ears. She was barely 3 feet tall, her skin glowing faintly in the dim light. She looked like a child, but her features were not human. Not at all. She held a sharp piece of scrap metal in her little hand like a weapon. "Don't come closer," she cried. "You humans eat my kind." Jordan's mouth dropped open. "Eat you? What? No. Who told you that?" She didn't answer. She just pressed herself tighter into the corner, her body shaking. Jordan slowly placed his blaster on the floor and slid it away. "I'm not going to eat anyone," he said gently. "I'm a soldier, not a monster." Her big eyes narrowed, with doubt. That's what monsters say. Jordan reached into his vest pocket and pulled out a protein bar. He unwrapped it halfway and placed it on the floor between them. Here, he said. You can eat this, not me. The little alien girl didn't move at first, she just stared. Then she slowly crawled forward, snatched the bar, and ran back behind the crate. She sniffed it like a scared animal, then took a small bite. Her eyes widened. It was sweet, soft, delicious. She ate the whole thing in seconds. Jordan smiled. See? Not poisoned either. The girl wiped her mouth with her sleeve and looked at him again. Why are you being nice? He shrugged. Because you're a guest on my ship, and guests don't get eaten. She didn't laugh. She didn't even smile. Jordan tried again. What's your name? She hesitated, then whispered. Luma. Okay, Luma, Jordan said. I'm Jordan. You're not supposed to be here. This ship is going to a dangerous place. There's a war happening where we're heading. I know, she said softly. I was hiding from worse things. Jordan raised an eyebrow. Worse than war? She nodded. Hunters, from my planet. They were going to sell me, or dissect me. I escaped and snuck onto this ship. I thought humans were scary. I thought maybe you'd end it quick. Jordan's heart sank. She had chosen humans because she thought they were the lesser evil. Well, he said firmly, you chose, right? Nobody's going to hurt you here. But Luma looked around nervously. They'll come for me. They can smell me, track me. They have long noses and cold hearts. Jordan's hand moved back to his weapon. Let them come, he said. I'll be ready. Then the intercom crackled. Private Blake, report. You find anything? Jordan pressed his comm. Yeah, Captain, we've got a stowaway, but she's not a threat. We need to talk. The captain paused. Is it dangerous? No, Jordan replied. She's scared and starving. There was a long silence. Bring her up, the captain finally said. And Blake, be careful. Jordan looked at Luma. She shook her head. No, I can't go up there. They'll lock me away or throw me into space. Jordan sighed. Luma, I promise I'll protect you. Whatever happens. But deep in the blackness of space, far behind the Star Whale 9, a ship had already changed course. A small, sharp vessel, dark like a dagger, was following their trail. Inside it, 3 reptilian hunters snarled as they scanned the stars. They had picked up her scent, and they were coming. The hunters marked Luma refused to leave the cargo bay. Jordan tried everything. Kind words, more food, even a soft blanket he found in the crew quarters. But the moment he mentioned the bridge or the captain, her silver skin paled with fear. They'll smell me, she said. The hunters left a mark, a scent. It's inside me. Jordan sat down beside a crate watching her as she nervously traced circles on the floor with one clawed finger. A mark? He asked. What kind of mark? She didn't answer directly. Instead, she lifted her tiny hand and showed him the inside of her wrist. A faint red circle pulsed softly under her skin, glowing with a rhythm like a heartbeat. They burned it into me, she whispered. A tracker. Jordan leaned closer. It's under your skin? She nodded. And they're coming. You don't understand, human. They don't stop. Not until they catch me, or I stop breathing. Jordan frowned. We have scanners. I didn't see anything like that on you. They use living tech, she explained. Their machines grow like vines. The tracker's alive, and it listens. Jordan stood up, jaw tightening. Then we'll cut it out, Luma gasped, crawling back into the shadows. No, if you touch it the wrong way, it will scream. Not sound, energy. It'll call them faster. He paused, processing her words. Living tech? A tracker that screams through energy pulses. That was way beyond standard science. But Jordan wasn't just any soldier. Before the war, he trained in xenoengineering back on Earth. He'd taken apart alien machines, even reverse-engineered a Karthak cloaking drone once. I might be able to disable it, he said. If you trust me. Luma looked at him like he'd just asked her to walk into a volcano. Why do you care so much? Jordan blinked. Because you don't belong in a cage. No one does. Her eyes softened. Just a little. Still, she didn't move. I'm scared, she whispered. He nodded. Me too. Just then the ship trembled, barely noticeable, like a soft knock on the hull. Jordan turned toward the ceiling. That wasn't turbulence. He ran to the console and tapped the internal scanner. Unidentified vessel detected. No comm signal, no beacon. Moving fast. Jordan's blood went cold. They've found you. Luma hugged herself. It's too late. Jordan grabbed his comm. Captain, this is Blake. We've got company. Unknown ship just entered shadow range. No signals, just tracking us. And Captain, it's not friendly. Copy that, came the captain's gruff voice. Prep the ship for possible evasive maneuvers. Bring the stowaway to medbay if you can. If she's marked, we need to act fast. Jordan turned to Luma. We don't have time to hide anymore. She looked up at him, then, trembling, stood. She took his hand. For a moment, Jordan almost forgot she was alien. She felt like a child, cold, light, but brave. Together, they ran. As alarms began to ring across Starwhale 9, the small girl with glowing eyes and the human soldier disappeared into the depths of the ship. Behind them, the hunter ship uncurled its claws. The medbay gambit. The medbay lights flickered as Jordan pushed open the doors. Inside, machines hummed quietly. The place smelled like antiseptic and metal. Dr. Hallwin, the ship's medic, looked up in surprise. Blake? What are you doing? Then she saw the small alien girl behind him, half hiding behind his leg, violet eyes wide and unsure. Dr. Hallwin's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Jordan stepped forward. Her name is Luma. She's the one who triggered the cargo sensors, but that's not the problem. He pointed to the red mark under her skin. She's been tagged. Living tech. A hunter beacon. We need to disable it before it brings them. Right to us. Dr. Hallwin raised an eyebrow. Living tech? I haven't dealt with that since the war on Veil 2. That's dangerous. She said if we touch it wrong, it screams. Jordan added. Not out loud, but through energy. It sends a signal. Luma climbed slowly onto the medbed. She didn't speak, but her eyes met the doctor's. Trust was a hard thing for her. But maybe she had no choice. Hallwin took a scanner and hovered it over the red circle. The screen pulsed once, then flickered. This thing's clever, she murmured. It's hiding itself from human tech. Every time we scan it, it rewrites its signal. Jordan leaned over. Can you stop it? I can try something risky, she said. But if it senses danger, it might self-destruct. Luma gasped. Not you, Hallwin quickly clarified. It will self-destruct. And in doing so, it might destroy your nervous system. Luma clutched Jordan's arm. No, I don't want to vanish. Jordan looked down at her. We'll find a better way. Dr. Hallwin narrowed her eyes. There may be another option. I can freeze the signal, not destroy it, but put it to sleep. Luma blinked. Sleep? Hallwin nodded. We chill the area around the mark using cryogel. If it stops sending out pulses, maybe the hunters lose the trail. Jordan smiled. Let's do it. Luma looked uncertain, but after a long pause, she nodded. Hallwin took a syringe filled with a shimmering blue fluid. This may sting. She gently injected the gel around the red mark. Luma winced but didn't scream. The circle under her skin stopped pulsing. Flat, still, silent. Hallwin checked her screen. It's frozen, for now. Before anyone could celebrate, the medbay lights turned red. Emergency alert, unknown vessel. Approaching at attack speed. All crew to stations. Jordan cursed. They're here. Luma's tiny hands clutched his sleeve tightly. I froze it. Why are they still coming? Hallwin's face turned serious. They might have already gotten close before we acted. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed through the ship. Jordan drew his weapon. They've latched on. Outside, the hunter ship's arms had wrapped around Star Whale 9 like a parasite. Metallic claws drilled silently into the hull. They won't stop, Luma whispered. They never do. Jordan looked at her, so small, so scared, but something inside her eyes had changed. Not just fear. Fire. He knelt beside her. Then maybe it's time they learn what happens when a hunter becomes the hunted. And in that moment, Luma did. Something she hadn't done since before she escaped captivity. She smiled, not with joy, but with determination. They came through the walls. The metal walls of Star Whale 9 groaned. Jordan knew that sound. It wasn't pressure or heat. It was cutting. The hunters weren't using doors. They were slicing their way in. He grabbed Luma's hand and pulled her off the medbed. We need to move. Now. Luma's frozen tracker no longer pulsed, but it didn't matter. The enemy was already here. Suddenly, sparks rained from the ceiling. A thin blade of light traced a perfect circle above the medbay door. Then, the panel crashed inward with a loud clang. Through the hole stepped a nightmare. Tall, bone armor, glowing orange eyes, a face like a skull wrapped in skin. The hunter stood still for a moment, sniffing the air. Its voice came like a growl through broken glass. Return the marked one, or die. Jordan fired first. The stun shot hit the creature's chest, but it didn't fall. It hissed, then charged. Jordan grabbed a metal tray and hurled it. The hunter dodged. Halwyn ducked behind her workstation. Luma froze, staring wide-eyed. As the creature raised a hooked claw, Jordan tackled her just in time. They hit the floor hard. The hunter's claw tore through the medbed, slicing it like paper. "Run!" Jordan shouted. Luma scrambled to her feet and bolted through the side door. Jordan followed, firing blindly behind him. The hunter didn't chase. Not yet. It turned, sniffed again, and spoke into a device on its wrist. "They're running. Let the pack loose." A faint clicking echoed through the ship's vents. More were coming. Luma and Jordan rushed through the narrow halls, the ship's red warning lights, casting shadows everywhere. They could hear movement in the walls like spiders crawling inside pipes. "What are they?" Jordan asked breathlessly. Luma shouted back, "Bloodseekers, small, fast, hungry." They turned a corner, and one of the things dropped from a vent, above. It was like a black lizard with metal fangs. It hissed and lunged at Jordan's face. But Luma stepped forward and shrieked, not in fear, but in a strange alien tongue. The creature paused, tilted its head, and hissed softer. Jordan stared. "Did you just speak to it?" "I know their old language," Luma said. "The tongue of submission. They were once slaves to my kind, before my people fell." The creature hissed again. Luma narrowed her eyes. "I'm not food," she growled. "I'm your last royal." The bloodseeker backed away. Jordan couldn't believe what he'd just seen. More bloodseekers spilled from the vents. They crawled toward Luma, but stopped, sniffed, and then bowed their heads low. Jordan whispered, "They're listening to you." Luma stood taller. "They still remember the old ways." Jordan smiled. "Then maybe we've got a chance." Behind them, another loud crash shook the ship. The first hunter had found a new way in, and it wasn't coming alone. Her voice woke the wild. The bloodseekers moved like shadows, silent, fast, and deadly. But now they followed Luma. She walked ahead through the maintenance tunnels, her tiny steps filled with strange power. Behind her, Jordan and a dozen bloodseekers crawled low, ready to strike. Jordan whispered, "I never thought I'd be hiding behind alien lizard dogs." "They're not dogs," Luma said. "They were soldiers once, forgotten by history, but not by me." Her voice had changed, still small, but filled with command. They reached the central power core. Jordan peeked around the metal bulkhead. The hunter was already there. Its claws scraped the walls. It sniffed the air like a hound. Another hunter stepped from the opposite hallway, then a third. all of them tall, armored, and glowing with red veins. Jordan whispered, "3 of them. We're outnumbered." Luma didn't flinch. She stepped forward into the open. The Bloodseekers followed, silent and still. One hunter snarled, "There she is!" They raised their weapons, but Luma suddenly screamed, not in fear but with ancient rage. The sound echoed down the halls like a war cry. Jordan flinched. Even the hunters paused. Then the Bloodseekers attacked. They leapt with wild speed, biting, clawing, ripping. Jordan fired his stun blaster, aiming between the chaos. The hunters fought back hard, tossing creatures aside, slamming bodies into walls. One grabbed Luma by the arm. Jordan's heart stopped, but Luma, calm, reached up with her free hand and touched the hunter's mask. She spoke a single word in the old tongue. The hunter froze. His eyes glowed blue for a second, then flickered, and he dropped her. Luma gasped. Stepping back, Jordan grabbed her and pulled her into cover. "What did you do?" "I used the royal word," she said, breathing hard. "It doesn't always work, but sometimes they remember who we were." Jordan looked around. 2 hunters were down. One still fought, but limping. The rest of the Bloodseekers had vanished, dragging wounded bodies into the shadows. Luma collapsed to her knees, exhausted. Jordan held her. "You were incredible." She shook her head. "I was desperate." He smiled softly. "That's what makes it powerful." But above them, the ship shook again. Luma looked up, eyes wide. That wasn't them. Jordan's comm crackled. "Enemy fleet incoming. Battle-class destroyers, brace for impact." Luma's voice trembled. The hunters weren't the worst, they were only scouts. The human makes his stand outside the ship. Stars vanished behind the shadow of a massive alien destroyer. It wasn't just one ship. 3 colossal warships now floated above Star Whale 9. Their hulls looked like bone and black steel. Massive claws extended like wings. They came not to capture, but to erase. On the bridge, alarms screamed. The captain shouted orders. But Star Whale 9 was just a transport ship, not built for war. Down below, in the energy tunnels, Jordan and Luma watched as sparks fell from the ceiling. "We have to run," Luma whispered. Jordan didn't move. "No," he said. "They won't stop, even if we escape." Luma looked at him confused. "Then what do we do?" Jordan stood up, eyes blazing. "We fight." She blinked. "You're one soldier. I'm a girl no one wanted. What can we do?" Jordan tapped the console beside him. The lights around them changed from red to blue. "I know this ship better than anyone. I was a mechanic before I was a soldier. There's an old prototype in the underdeck, a mining exosuit. It's half weapon, half armor." He looked down at her. "If I get in it, I might stand a chance." Luma's eyes widened. "Against warships? Not to win, but to buy time. For the captain to call reinforcements. For you to escape." Luma grabbed his arm. "No, you'll die." Jordan smiled softly. "I've seen what they do to people like you. I'd rather die standing than live hiding." She trembled. "You're not like other humans." He shrugged. "Maybe I'm worse. Or just stubborn." They moved quickly. Jordan led her through back tunnels to the lower hangar. Dust-covered old machines, long forgotten. And there it was. Titan III, the mining exosuit. 10 feet tall. Heavy armor. Giant gauntlets. A weapon built not for beauty but for brute survival. Jordan climbed into the cockpit. Systems flickered to life. The suit hissed as it locked around him. Luma stared up at him, tears in her eyes. "Promise me you'll come back." Jordan's voice echoed through the speaker. "Only if you promise me something too." "What?" "Don't let them break you. You're more than a mark. You're a leader." She nodded slowly. Above them, the ceiling trembled again. The hull was about to be breached. Jordan stepped forward, steel feet crashing into the deck. "Let's give them a reason to remember why," Humans are dangerous. And with that, he marched into the storm. Outside the ship, stars vanished behind the shadow of a massive alien destroyer. It wasn't just one ship. 3 colossal warships now floated above Star Whale 9. Their hulls looked like bone and black steel. Massive claws extended like wings. They came not to capture, but to erase. On the bridge, alarms screamed. The captain shouted orders. But Star Whale 9 was just a transport ship, not built for war. Down below, in the energy tunnels, Jordan and Luma watched as sparks fell from the ceiling. "We have to run," Luma whispered. Jordan didn't move. "No," he said. "They won't stop, even if we escape." Luma looked at him confused. "Then what do we do?" Jordan stood up, eyes blazing. "We fight." She blinked. "You're one soldier. I'm a girl no one wanted. What can we do?" Jordan tapped the console beside him. The lights around them changed from red to blue. "I know this ship better than anyone. I was a mechanic before I was a soldier. There's an old prototype in the underdeck, a mining exosuit. It's half weapon, half armor." He looked down at her. "If I get in it, I might stand a chance." Luma's eyes widened. "Against warships? Not to win, but to buy time. For the captain to call reinforcements. For you to escape." Luma grabbed his arm. "No. You'll die." Jordan smiled softly. "I've seen what they do to people like you. I'd rather die standing than live hiding." She trembled. "You're not like other humans," he shrugged. "Maybe I'm worse, or just stubborn." They moved quickly. Jordan led her through back tunnels to the lower hangar. Dust-covered old machines, long forgotten. And there it was. Titan III, the mining exosuit, 10 feet tall, heavy, armor, giant gauntlets, a weapon built not for beauty, but for brute survival. Jordan climbed into the cockpit. Systems flickered to life. The suit hissed as it locked around him. Luma stared up at him, tears in her eyes. "Promise me you'll come back." Jordan's voice echoed through the speaker. "Only if you promise me something too." "What?" "Don't let them break you. You're more than a mark. You're a leader." She nodded slowly. Above them, the ceiling trembled again. The hull was about to be breached. Jordan stepped forward, steel feet crashing into the deck. "Let's give them a reason to remember why humans are dangerous." And with that, he marched into the storm. She walked into fire for him. The enemy warships opened fire. Laser beams rained down like lightning from the sky, cutting into the hull of Star Whale 9. The ship's shields flickered, then shattered. Inside, the walls shook. Pipes burst. Fire spread through the corridors, and in the middle of the chaos, he stood. Jordan, inside the old exosuit, stomped through the fire like a titan of steel. The heavy armor hissed with steam, glowing from the heat of the blasts. He had no backup, no shield, just strength, and one mission: to protect her, to give her a future. In the docking bay, enemy soldiers dropped in through burn holes in the ceiling. Bone-armored, fanged, and tall, they charged the human, but Jordan met them with fury. The suit's arm cannon fired a pulse that knocked 3 hunters off their feet. Another leapt at him. He caught it midair and crushed it against the floor. His voice echoed from the speaker. "Come on then, I'm right here." But they kept coming. In a side chamber, Luma watched everything on a cracked screen. She was supposed to escape. She had the access codes. The captain had cleared a pod for her, but her hands wouldn't move. Not while he was out there. Not while he was buying her life with his. She clenched her fists. "I can't leave him." The bloodseekers surrounded her, sensing her pain. She turned to them and spoke in the old tongue. "I release you from all command, but if you choose to follow me, follow into fire." They blinked, then bowed, and together, they ran. Luma burst into the burning dock. Smoke and ash covered everything. Jordan's exosuit was dented, cracked, nearly sparking to death. He was on one knee, a hunter's blade stuck in his side. He looked up and saw her. "Luma! No, get out of here!" She didn't stop. She raised both hands and shouted words older than memory. The Bloodseekers leapt forward, this time not as beasts, but as an army. They attacked with rage and purpose, tearing into the last wave of enemies. Luma ran to Jordan's side, placed her hand over the cracked suit. "I'm not leaving you." He coughed, smiling behind the glass. "You came back." She nodded. "You believed in me. Now let me protect you too." From above, a massive tremor shook the ship again, but this time not from enemy fire. Reinforcements. The Earth fleet had arrived. Dozens of human warships appeared through warp space, firing full force into the alien destroyers. The hunter vessels tried to retreat, but it was too late. They burned in silence. Inside Starwhale 9, the remaining hunters fled. Jordan collapsed fully. The suit hissed open. He fell out, weak, but alive. Luma caught him. Tiny hands. Giant heart. "You're safe now," she whispered. He looked at her through tired eyes. "So are you." And then, for the first time in her life, Luma didn't feel hunted. She felt home.